What's up, guys? Welcome to the Almost Grown Up podcast with Kamil and Azeem. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date. We'll see you in the podcast.
6, 7, 8.
That's how I disapprove. I just don't make a noise. Hello.
Hi.
You're back here. We're back here. You're back here. That's probably more of a comment on your personality than ours.
Yeah, exactly.
We
What's
do
wrong
this
with
for-
you?
Yeah, why are you
listening
tuning
to this
in?
Fucking idiots.
To be fair, you did just hear me say to do that in the intro, but or maybe it's you, depending on it might be you, depending on which one you've used for the
that's a good point.
anchor. Do you keep it as the same people?
No, I switch it up.
No, as in like, do you keep it as so whatever one
No, I
does
switch it
the
up.
video?
It's random.
Just no. You're not that type of person.
No, I am.
No, you're not.
I am.
No, you're not. You're not. That's probably the most random thing about your personality.
No, so
then.
hang on. So I
Everything has a rhyme and a reason with you.
switch. So I do like one for you, one
You're
for
like
me.
a serial killer. Nothing is like just a out of the blue decision. I bet you've killed at least 3 people. Yes.
No, it's. I think I do so like
He doesn't know what he does.
one for me and then one for you, but I've never tried to match them up to the YouTube ones. They're specific to themselves, so they're just independent.
Right.
So
So
they
basically,
might
what
match
we're
up.
saying is you better like, comment, subscribe because this is where it's at.
Yeah.
Or the
YouTube
IG, which is probably going to pop up around here somewhere.
Yeah.
Because that way you can enjoy little short clips of us if hearing us for half an hour is a little too much for your tiny little pathetic brain. I'm just
Jesus
kidding.
Christ.
Love you guys. But yeah, my sort of weird sense of humor aside, when we were on a walk earlier, because that's what you can do with your friends now. Probably not when you hear this actually, because you can meet up for drinks or whatever.
6 people.
You can sleep in your friend's garden.
Oh, it's a good shout. Yeah, get a tent.
I'm pitching a tent. Anyway, so we were going for a walk and we're talking about topic ideas. And one interesting one was because we had Jerome on the podcast earlier, and he's one of our friends, our close friends, who has a kid. They're thinking about parenthood.
It's a scary thing.
It's kind of scary, but I feel like I'd be a sick parent.
Everyone says that. Everyone's like, "Oh, I'm a sick dad."
Okay, no, not that I'd be a sick parent. I think I just really enjoy it, but I do think I'd be a little bit too obsessed with my kid.
Just push him into stuff. Like,
No,
Do
not
this.
even put. Well, there's certain things that I think they should be pushed towards. Not like they have to do it, but as in like it's there to build a foundation, and
yeah,
like
you got to build certain character traits.
like you can't just be like,
Make
oh,
him
you're
work
pushing
hard.
a kid into school. Like yeah, he needs it.
yeah, no, totally, yeah.
Or like, oh, you're pushing a kid to be social. Yeah, he needs it. It's like
Yeah.
if you get a puppy, you can't just not socialize them because they end up all weird.
You've got to train them. As weird as it sounds, you've got to train your kids,
Yeah,
like to be humans and to act like
but
normal
I
humans.
just think that I'd freak out over little things. I'd be like, oh my god, he's arranged his like toys in color. Maybe he's like autistic.
Oh no! What really? You think?
This is me like speculating of what I would be like, but I think that I'd be so, because I think when you have a kid and that becomes not like your sole purpose, but as in like it's a big part of your life.
Yeah, it becomes basically an extra 100% on top of what you already have.
That's such a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you're not that invested, then you're not that you're not a good parent. You're just different to me, I guess. I'm not to judge parents, like, you know.
Some parents, though,
You do
I
you.
guess, like those who are like, wealthy and really busy would have, they'd be working throughout the day and then they would have nannies, which is a different upbringing entirely. Not that it's like the right or wrong way to do it. It's just, your circumstances and how you choose to deal with them,
Yeah, I never.
Some people are a lot more career focused and they just want to keep it that way. And
It
then when
also
they get to a
depends-
certain
it
age,
also depends on what your career is, because if it's one that like look at my job, I'm not even like super high up right now, but it takes up a fuckload of my time.
yeah,
And so when you get higher up, I can only assume it's going to
take up even more time.
take up, yeah,
But it
take up more time.
depends.
And then also like people who are senior in my company, for example, they've had a real hard time trying to manage homeschooling plus their own job.
Oh, dude, I can imagine.
So like, it depends. I don't think there's necessarily career focus. I think they just
You
their
don't have
career
time.
is that big because
Yeah, I guess if you're in a position where your job is really like important and vital, then it's almost like that's another kid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you kind of stop giving that attention, then the performance might not be there. And
But
so
then
on
the
and so
other
forth.
thing is though, like if you don't do your job and you lose your job,
Then
now
you
you've
can't
got a
feed for the
kid.
family.
Yeah, you've got a kid to pay for.
Catch
You've
22.
got a mortgage to pay off, or whatever other loans you might have. addictions to cater for. I'm just being as broad as
Yeah, I got you. I thought it was like some weird like you're opening up then through like
the medium of podcast. As I said, this is just our therapy session. No, but then like I think I sound like I said Bazinga. Shout out Sidemen.
Bazinga. Or Sheldon Cooper.
I hated the Big Bang Theory.
Anyways,
I remember you used to make me watch that because of Penny with the big tits.
make you watch that.
I think you put it on,
Did I?
And I'd be like, this again.
Really?
It was through that period where I used to watch MythBusters, get pizzas. So, how are we not fat kids? Anyway, fat kids. That's another thing. I'd be really, really annoyed if my kid was lazy. Like,
Yeah, but I think that comes from the parents. So like, you're not a lazy person. Therefore, I don't see the kid being lazy.
yeah, but my dad is pretty lazy.
Yeah, but
Now he is.
you've gone, I don't want to be like that, or I don't want to be lazy,
Yeah,
and you've just not been lazy.
yeah, I suppose.
So it's like, it's almost, when you're growing up, you're also seeing the traits of your parents. When you get to a certain age, it's a bit
and you
more...
see them stop being as like Superman, then you see them as a human.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then you develop your own morals and beliefs and things like that, and you kind of go, oh, I kind of don't like the way you do this. I'm gonna try a different approach.
Yeah,
And then you kind of go off that way. It's almost like I guess that's parenting in a way, but it's just through who you are. So hopefully your kids can see that, because I feel like kids will always want to change for the better. They want to see good traits in their parents and go, oh, I don't want to be like that. I just want to do...
But the thing is, though, right? So we would assume that they're good traits, but then because they're seeing it from a perspective where they haven't got that broad field, because they have like a smaller view of the world, so they don't know.
Oh, kids, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So what we think is portraying good habits to them might be like, oh, it's a really bad habit of my dad to keep. Like he's obsessed with going to the gym, or like obsessed with like eating. Or, like maybe they'll then develop an unhealthy relationship with food.
Yeah, or
because from my perspective, I'll be like, this is healthy because you're looking at what your body needs and giving it that. Whereas they'll be like, oh fuck, they'll stress them out because it's not. They haven't got that.
There's
experience,
always two sides to the coin in that. So what just came to my mind is, one person could be like just very driven. Say like, I'm going to relate to drumming because that's what I know. Always there practicing. Just getting really good at it. So your kids might be like, oh, my dad's really driven and committed. Like I'm going to be the same. Or they'd be like, oh, he's not spending much time with me because he's always out there playing drums. So it's always...
Yeah. But then again, could you overcome that by just communicating with your kid and being like, or getting them to enjoy it? Because you put like a kid on a drum kit, they don't know about it, but then they just like the sounds it makes and they kind of relate to that. There's a really, I don't know what he is. I think he's like a child psychologist. So this guy called Gabor Mate. Gabor, it's spelt mate, but I'm pretty sure it's not pronounced mate.
Gabor Mate, yeah.
Gabor Mate.
It's a sick name.
He made a really good point on, I think it was Brian Rose's London Real thing, that podcast. I think it's a podcast, about how the most important thing when you're raising a child is just to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about when they're like unable to articulate themselves. Like, it's just to be there present, and even if you're not saying anything or making any noises, obviously because they understand like tone and like facial expressions before they've understood like speech patterns. It's just a matter of being there. So like maybe if you're there and you've introduced your kid to like drumming early on, and they've seen it makes you happy and it's a happy environment,
I got you.
then maybe they'll then intrinsically relate that to
something else.
Yeah, exactly.
But maintaining that focus.
So then when they then start to understand the core concept of, repetition makes, like practice makes perfect, and they'll sort of connect the dots. You know what I mean? So I'm sure in some ways that earlier that you instill like that being a happy connotation.
Yeah.
I'm assuming then you could overcome it that way. But this is what I mean. I'm thinking about this so deeply now, and I haven't even got a fucking kid.
No, but they're good things to think about and to keep in the back of your head, because then when you are in the situation, you are in a sense already prepared. Well, not prepared because you can't really, like, everyone says this. Everyone's like, yeah, parenting, like I've read read books, did all this sort of stuff. Right? And read the books, and then they fucking have one and they go, what do I do? You just got to figure it out. Like everyone's going to do it differently. Like there's no formula. I mean, hey, we're fucking speaking like we know what we're talking about. We do not know what we're talking about. This is just through.
But at the same time,
stories of
neither
friends
fucking
and-
you, because you don't
They
know.
might do.
Yeah, but you don't know if you've raised your kid right. Maybe they fucking hate you. They just haven't said it yet. Do you know what I mean?
That's deep thought.
Yeah, but there's
Yeah,
a lot,
that's
like
fair
there's,
dues, yeah.
they probably have a lot of like qualms with you, but they're just like, you know, it's not worth bringing it up because can't be able to deal with it. I'll just accept my parent for who it is. Maybe they're already at that stage. So literally no one knows what it's right. But the other thing that would stress me out, right? And I do really feel for parents when I see this. So like, you know, when you're in the supermarket and one of them is just kicking off, and the parent's like, I really want to fucking scream at you right now.
Oh,
But
and the
then
kid's kicking off.
Yeah, not the parent.
Imagine. I want an ice cream.
It's like, me too. Sick. Do you want to pay for it? Because I ain't got shit.
Yeah.
I left my wallet at home.
Yeah, innit?
What's for dinner, Mum?
I
Kids
can maybe
again?
try. I can maybe try sweet talking out of this. Like, give him like a nice
Hey, goo goo.
Gaga, ice cream.
Sorry, little tangent there. But when the kid is kicking off in the supermarket and the parent's like, man, I really want to fucking like scream at you or whatever, and you know, put you in your place. There must be a certain pressure on the parent to number one, look like a good parent and be like in control. Number two, do number one whilst not being overly aggressive, because then you look like a child abuser.
Yeah.
And there's just that, like, you've just got the red light.
You've got the
It's
spotlight.
on, like, yeah, you got the spotlight, and the red
on
light
you.
is on. The world is recording, and then you got a fucking audience of the supermarket watching you. And the only people that are going to sympathize are, well, me and other parents.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That just.
I feel like if I was a parent in that situation, I would crumble under the pressure and just be like, I will give you whatever you want. Just please be quiet.
And a lot of people do.
I know, but it
people
would
do, but
break
then
me
that-
to do that,
but
because I'd
that
be like, that's just such
builds-
a bad habit.
Yeah, that builds bad habits for the kids. You know, because then they just go, this.
If I throw a
worked last
tantrum, it'll get me what I want.
Exactly. You need to just not be afraid. Like in the sort of situations, you know, parenting aside, like any situation where it's a bit, I guess, confrontational. You just not need to
It's like a war of attrition almost.
back out.
Yeah.
Just like don't back down. You got to just stand your ground and just like no matter how fucking uncomfortable you feel, you just got to say your piece. You know.
I feel
Or
like-
say your.
But the
your-
thing is, you
your
can
two
say your
cents, I guess.
piece, but kids don't have that level of comprehension just yet. And I'm saying kids up until the point of like maybe 13, 14.
Yeah, but that also comes to the point where, say, if the kid is still throwing a tantrum, like, and you believe that, like, obviously, you know, you said what you need to say, and they're still getting at it. You just got to let them fucking cry through the store and be like, you're not getting what you want. And like, yeah, everyone's gonna be like, oh, fucking person crying, kid crying or whatever.
I do hate the sound of
Yeah, but it's
anyone
like, I
crying,
don't give a
really.
fuck, bro. I'm raising my kids to like get good values. Like, they're not gonna be a little whiny cunt.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what, the ones on a plane. Like, I can imagine, like, as soon as your kid starts crying on a plane, there's nothing more that you want in the world than for them to just shut up. But it's almost like, hey, what are you looking at? It's a fucking kid. Like, they cry, turn around. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, what do you want from me, blood? You were like this too.
you'd be a
so
great
shut up.
parent.
I'd tell everyone how the fuck it is, man. Because, like,
Even
well,
the
I'm
kid.
saying this now. Yeah, exactly. Stop crying. What are you crying for? We're high up. Look at the plane. Look at the sky. Woo, pretty
The
clouds.
kid's like, I'm a kid, I cry. Shut up, turn around. You're like, fuck, he's got me
Damn,
there.
it's working. Yeah.
He's like, see, values. I taught him that.
Yeah, look at that. Turn the fuck around. Oh, he's a pilot. Never mind. Yeah, you turn around.
You should turn around. Look where you're going. He's like, don't worry, Cloud missed it. Nailed it.
You go through it.
But yeah, you'd be a fucking jokes parent. I would. Oh, let's go on family holidays when you both got kids.
We could stop for like a day. Stop
Well,
kids.
Why?
I don't know.
We'd be right there. We're in the same group.
Yeah, but like, it'd be fun to be like. You just
Mine
go
will
around a
come-
high street with his brown baby. Everyone's going, is this. No, never mind. Just to confuse people.
So, that's another thing that I
And
was.
you're there with this fucking pale skinned, like, Eastern European.
Because you're in Charlotte. I'm
Yeah.
fair skinned, yeah.
And I've got ginger in me, so you never know.
Either way, the baby would not look like it's mine. But I think about this, like do you remember when we went to Wales and we saw Jerome? We had Ollie. Ollie's like my godson, Jerome's kid. He's obviously very white. So I feel like I was like getting weird looks if I was like holding his hand or like had him in my like
Yeah.
like holding him up.
Yeah, I didn't get that. It's like it could have been adopted. Like, why have people got to be fucking
Because at the same time,
Question
you could have
shit.
stolen a kid.
Yeah, but if you stolen a kid, you wouldn't be like acting normal. Like I feel like
Yeah, but
it'd
that's
be
what
very
they-
easy to just.
Yeah, but that's what good kid thieves, I'm assuming, would do, right? They'd be like, act natural. Yeah, it's mine. It's adopted.
Yeah,
So
I guess
this might be like one of those underlying brown person fears, or like do it.
like
do you know what I
racism
mean?
thing that we were talking about last podcast.
Yeah, last podcast we talked about the hierarchy of racism.
Yeah.
I guess that's what we're going to call it now.
It's almost like when there's kids involved, it's like you're the same. It doesn't matter whether you're white.
Yeah,
It's like
Like if you
did
walk-
you steal that baby?
but actually, that's a good point. If you were walking around with a black kid, like as if it was yours, would people be like, "Oh, what a great guy, he's adopted," or his wife hasn't told him something? Or would they be like, "He stole a kid"? Do you know what I mean?
know.
And then vice versa, would it be obviously not the black
Yeah.
kid, not the black kid walking around with you, because that's but is it like a coloured person walking around with
A white baby.
oh, I'm white, baby. But yeah, the other big topic when you have the chat about the birds and the bees with your kid.
I never had that chat.
I
think-
kinda
I think there was a moment where I think my dad walked in and
Oh,
it
no.
was, no. It was so when we had prom for
prom
when we were 16, what was it, year 11?
must have been year 11.
Yeah. And remember we
think I
were
went
kinda
to a
ready,
gig that same day.
ready to go out and stuff. But I walked in, he goes, "You got a condom, yeah?" I was like, well, not like that. He's Polish. He doesn't say like that, but it's just in my head. It's funnier. I was like, "Yeah, you know how they work, right?" "Yeah." "Sick. Have a good time."
My God,
It was something along those lines.
Dominic.
But the thing is, like, my dad's awkward in those situations. He's just like me, where he kind of doesn't really know how to how to talk about it.
because there's no
so
blueprint.
I'm just like,
How do you do it?
it's all good. I know.
But
I
how'd
was
you
like,
do it?
Okay, cool. Nothing happened. I'm 16. I'm fucking socially awkward. Like, of course, nothing happened.
My man, Dominic.
Yeah. I think it was that. I mean, I forget loads of things, so it may
remember.
have been me looking in the mirror, going,
Ah.
"Go on, you got to give yourself the talk." It's like no one else is gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. But how would you do it for your kid? Also, I would only know how to approach it from a guy's point of view. If I had a daughter, I'd be like, tag my wife in.
So here's a funny thing. So I guess
Is that bad? Is
it's
that
not,
like
it's not really birds and bees, but so Charlotte's telling me when she first had her period.
she's gonna love you talking
Her
about
mum,
this?
her mum was at work and it was only her dad, and then it was like,
Oh, no.
no. So he was just like, yeah, it just happened, sort of like what I do, and then they had to go to take her brother to like I think rowing or something. So they were in a car.
He's
And
taller.
obviously
He'd be a good
just,
rower.
Yeah, and
Sorry,
they were just
side
like chatting on the phone, and she was obviously just there, like, "Oh my god, like, what's happening?" And then they obviously went to like the supermarket to like buy them. But like her dad's very just like open.
Yeah, he's
just like,
pretty chill.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I can imagine being like I don't know 10 or 11, just like, "Oh no, what's happening? This is so awkward." But you shouldn't be awkward. Like it's just fucking.
Yeah, no,
Shit happens.
that bit I wouldn't be awkward about. It's the bit when she starts getting like boyfriends and stuff. I'd be like,
I guess, yeah.
because this is the thing. Like I'm sure every guy goes through this, and they're like, if it's a boy and you got a girlfriend, be like, yeah. But the truth is, guys are just predators. So when it's the daughter, you're like, fuck. How do I deal with this?
Yeah.
Because you want to be supportive and be like, you got to go through this at some point. Yeah, that said that really with poor diction. Got to
You
go
did.
through this at some point.
Nice.
Sorry, nailed it.
You did good.
But
yeah, I don't know.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's 'cause every guy, no matter how much they deny it, want a boy first. Just as like a
do you-
practice run.
Do you know what? I'm not bothered.
Okay, every guy except Camille.
I think I'd kind of
Shut up.
well, I'd prefer a girl, but I feel like girls are more chill. Like, I mean, I'm just speaking from experience. Like my little sister, I was 15 when she was born, so I, was an adult when it was kind of, she was a baby still. So she was fucking easy, and then she's a bit more like.
Everyone does say
know.
this, that boys are harder work, parenting wise.
Probably, it just comes down to the kid, doesn't it?
But I think
I think girl babies are cuter than boy babies.
I can't tell the difference. That's why. There's no way around it, though, is it? Because I was going to say...
You
that's
can't
why
have an in-between.
No. As in, like, when you see someone's baby, you can't say... You have to say what's his or her name. Like, the pronoun isn't necessarily discernible by that point. So you have to use one. So you can't be like, oh, what's their name? That's weird.
Yeah. What's its
But
name?
annoyingly... yeah, what's its name?
Worse.
Annoyingly, if they go, oh, Ashley, and you're like, fuck, that doesn't give me a fucking indicator either.
That's when you just go, just make eye contact. You got to help me out here, motherfucker. Boy or girl? Because there's a lot of purple going on, and I don't quite understand what colour you can try to
that's
go.
not blue, not pink.
Yeah.
Help a brother out. What do you think of that?
boy.
Like when kids play with not playing with Barbies. I think that's fine. But as in like the parents dressing their kids up as like blue for boy and like pink for girl. Because all those like gender reveal thing. Have you seen all those gender reveal videos?
They're fucking
so
cringy.
stupid.
Mate, someone I know did one. And they did like the whole like fucking balloon thing and whatever. And it was just like, I don't know, like it's just, I don't know. Is it a tradition thing? Like, is it quite popular or is it just because of social media? It's like, oh, how do we make this more viewable?
But there's some really elaborate ones too that
Yeah.
I've seen.
And it's like, come on, man, just fucking.
The funny ones I've seen though are when I think loads of people realise, and then I think the granddad to be is like colorblind, so he's just there like, wow, what happened?
He's like, what colour is it? What colour is it? Yeah, it's blue. He's like,
I got a grandson.
yeah. I'd do it like fucking extreme. I'd just have like,
I'd say we go paintballing and they're all the same color paintballs.
oh, I was thinking, you can just get a drift car, and like you can get like the different
Oh,
color
different
tire
colour
smoke.
smoke, yeah.
So whatever type.
That's a very
me thing.
Kamil. That's a very like not metalhead, petrol head,
Yeah.
Polish thing
Yeah.
to do. Pay Ken Block to do a gymkhana of just that tire smoke color.
Jesus. Hey, Ken Blog, if you're listening, yeah, discount, yeah.
He's not listening. I guarantee you, I would put all my money to say that he's not listening to this podcast.
In an alternate universe, he probably is.
In an
I'll
alternate
take
universe, this podcast is probably a lot better content.
I'm trying.
I'm trying too.
I'm trying all the editing bits too.
Tattoos. That's not such a big deal, actually.
Yeah,
Depends on what age the kid gets to.
Yeah.
Because if they came back, oh man, and if it's a bad one as well, I'd be like, get one, but just make sure it's a good tattoo.
See, for me, I would like them to tell me, like, if they want a tattoo, I'd be like, okay, cool, but you're doing it properly. Like, you're gonna save up for it. You're gonna get it properly. You're gonna get one done properly. You're gonna go and
don't go for
have a
like
look at it.
go for like a face, because I think since Post Malone, everyone and the fucking son, actually maybe not since Post Malone, before then, he's just one icon that I can think of that has it. He's got a weird like thing around.
Loads of rappers have it.
Yeah, and then have you seen 6ix9ine?
Oh fucking.
That dude has got so many face tattoos. This
Yeah, man.
commitment, I respect it on some level. I haven't found that level yet, but I respect it.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, as long as they don't just do it and then they just turn up, it's like, mate, you.
Because even
actually
Jerome,
fucked
he
it.
got that first like diamond which got covered up. He had another skull there which has been covered
That's
up.
what I'm saying, yeah, you
He
get
had loads
them
of
covered up.
loads of
eventually.
ones that he didn't. He's lucky that they were cover-upable, if that's a thing. But like, I'd really want my kid to not have to go through that. Or if they're in a relationship and they get a fucking matching one with the person, I'd be like,
Oh my god.
I'd be like, kid.
I don't think
Stop
that
it.
is ever a good idea. No matter, like, you could have been with the person for 30 years. I still think getting someone's name, unless it's maybe like your kid.
Get like a portrait of them and like do it cool, like those like Mexican. Like,
I don't know.
like-
That's fucking cringy, bro.
well, it's better than a name.
No, because it's their face.
Yeah, but if you get it done cool, like when there's like Day of the Dead, like Mexican style,
I guess.
that's the
don't
best
know.
way I can think of like getting. If you want to commemorate them,
Mum.
Jerome has mum and dad on like the insides of his there. He has. I feel like we're out and Jerome for a lot of bad tattoos. Sorry, bro.
Sorry, dude.
But yeah, I think the tattoo chat would be a fairly simple one.
I would like. So
I'd like to think my kid is going to grow up reasonable. How do you teach someone to be reasonable?
I don't know. But I would like my kids to
Read a book on
be
that.
very like open about like their interests and what they would want to do. Just like, no matter sort of how extreme it is, like if I don't know if they want to,
If you want to join the circus,
yeah, or whatever.
there's so
like,
many
just
curveballs
tell
they
me
can
about
throw
it.
at you.
Yeah, just like tell me, and then I'll support you, or I'll be like, okay, maybe you're making a wrong mistake. I'll be a drug dealer. Are you sure about this, son? Try it, see how I get on. No, of course not.
The police are there like,
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing, playing piano.
It's a lot of notes.
Mozart, baby.
Yeah.
I can't remember what other things would there be for. Oh man,
President
they
Bee's
come back
toes.
like drugs.
Yeah, it's when they first get drunk, when they first start rebelling. That's when you go. But because
I feel like that's
every
when
kid's going to do
parenting
it.
really starts. No, that's not true. It's not true.
That's when the
I'd also be
life
so
lessons
terrified.
begin. No, but that's when the life lessons begin.
I'd be terrified of like something. I think just knowing as a parent when to, you can't control that stuff.
No, that's their friend group then.
You also can't be the parent. I mean, you can if you want, but in my eyes, you can't be the parent that like vets their friend group, because then that automatically becomes a you versus them thing,
Yeah.
and then you've sort of lost their trust in the sense that you've now they're going to view it as you being against them and not being able to hang out with the cool kids or
Yeah.
whatever it is. So
I guess again, it always just comes down to being involved. If you're involved in what they're doing, or like if you're not like oh, what are you doing tonight? Oh, where are you going? So going to be
Mum
there.
was really bad.
Not
for
like that. It's
My mum
just
would be so transparent. She'd be like, "Oh, what are you doing? Who are you going out with? What time are you going to be back?" I was like, "I hate those questions. Those
Yeah.
two questions are the fucking worst questions ever."
and exactly. They're the questions that you don't want to have as a kid, because that just basically shows that, well, you didn't trust me. Because you almost have to instill like trust from an
Yeah.
early age, because if you don't, then they're gonna just assume like,
'Cause
oh, everything I do is gonna be shit anyway, so I might as well do the shit things.
But like you said, for them to be open, they have to have that trust. They have to be able to do that.
Yeah, totally.
So like they will never be open about their interests if they're just like, I'm going to be judged for it.
Yeah, but
And
then
they-
if you trust them, then they might. It kind of opens that
wait,
door.
are you saying about you trust, like the parent trusting the kid?
parent trusting the kid.
That ain't
And then
that
if they
ain't
do,
never going to happen. I
but
don't
the
trust
thing is,
anyone.
but then the thing is, like, if they then, I mean, not for everything, but like just letting them do certain things, and then if they do fuck up, I think it then makes
That's the
it
life
very
lesson.
apparent for them that they have fucked up, and then it's like once that trust is then broken, then you know that like I'm being a dick towards you because you've broken this trust, and then they might sort of see that, okay, I really fucked up then.
But also
whereas if
it's
you're
like
just
how-
shouting at the kid the whole fucking time, saying they're doing this wrong, that wrong, then they're just going to be like, well, it doesn't fucking matter what I do because you're just always going to shout.
Yeah. I don't like shouty parents.
No, just
I'm not-
inside voice.
I'm
Just don't shout.
I'm not a super shouty guy.
No,
Um,
you lose all like
high ground.
high ground as soon as you start shouting or you raise your voice. It's like I've stopped listening by that point. It's like if you're not going to talk to me like you would do anyone else, like I'm not interested in what you have to say.
But at the same time, when you're letting your kid know that they've done something wrong, right? So if we go back to when they're like infants, I think a lot of parents do the whole silent treatment thing, which I don't think is a good way to do it, because I'm pretty sure, and this might be me referring back to that Gabor Mate guy again, who I'd recommend checking him out. Just Google
There'll
his
be a
name.
link.
Or just Google his name. There'll be his name somewhere
Cool.
around here. Or a picture of him right here, because that'd be funny. Sorry. But
Thanks.
I'm pretty sure he said that when you give your kids a silent treatment, what that teaches them is that I have my parents' support until I do something wrong, and then I'm on my own, which is not what you want to instill. Because now they make the connection that I'm only loved when I'm doing what they want, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a very powerful message that the parent can send, and not one that you necessarily want to, because then they'll almost sort of devalue your love, because it becomes on their part quite a conditional thing, because it's only going to work when it's in the parent's favor,
Yeah.
because they're going to think, okay, cool, so you tell me that you love me and you care about me, but only when it's of benefit to you.
Yeah.
The second you're not pleased with something I've done, you stop talking to me. So I think the silent treatment, I don't think is a good way to approach letting your kid know that something is wrong, which
Yeah.
is where I think, like I said, how do you teach someone to be reasonable? I guess,
But I think
especially when they're like a blank canvas.
with
There's
all
nothing
these
there.
sort of parenting techniques and everything we're sort of talking about, you need to try out all these things because you kind of need to find out what works, but you need to be very kind of
So
switched
in
on.
tuned with
Yeah,
your kid.
exactly. But you just got to be very like switched on, and almost analyze like, okay, how's this worked? Why hasn't it worked? Okay, let's try something else. Because, I mean, as bad as it sounds, like having a kid it's a project. Like you've got to know what's working and what isn't
I know what you
working.
mean.
Like,
In fact, we've got quite a few. So we got Jerome's got a kid. Angus has got a kid.
my mate Tom's got a kid.
Chris, yeah, Tom's got a kid. Ash, he's got a kid.
Yeah.
In fact, he posted a story of her on a merry-go-round on his Instagram story yesterday, and I was there watching that. I was like, oh man, there's so many ways this kid could get hurt on this thing. Spinning, a bit of metal,
But again, with kids,
gap between the ground,
Again,
fingers
with
that are
kids-
like tiny. Nah,
kids have to get hurt.
yeah, but not like lose a finger.
No, but you.
And I swear to God,
but
they-
if you baby
kids-
them all the time, then it's like,
oh yeah, like they fall over and shit. That's fine.
yeah, stop crying. Come on, get up. It's fine. Just dust it off. You'll be fine.
Yeah, but like I swear they try and find ways to kill themselves. Like they put their fingers in things, and you're like,
Because they don't know fear, and that's what I'm so fucking envious of with kids. Because you see these kids at skate park just chucking themselves down these stairs and trying to stuff, falling over and trying it again, and I'm like, I can't even pluck up the courage to fucking jump down these fucking things. And these like are just like, yeah, woohoo.
I do think back to some of the things I did as a kid, and I'm like, bro, I was so fucking stupid.
Oh yeah,
You
I've done
could've easily
stupid things.
broken-
Yeah.
Do you remember that set of 13 stairs when you came out the PE block in school?
Oh yeah.
The one with
Oh,
the one that
yeah.
overlooked. The one that, so there was like just a drop. I think I've talked about it on the podcast before.
Or maybe.
But there was like, so you come out the PE block, right, up on the upstairs part, and then look down to that courtyard with all that
Yeah.
plexiglass window
Yeah.
that became really fucking hot during the summer. Turn left, go through the double doors up the small stairs, and then turn left again. That set of stairs, I jumped down that when I was 13 years old, and I was like, I remember thinking back to it. I was like, bro,
Could've broken my
I
ankle.
was so fucking skinny. Ankle, knee could have popped out, and I could have just spilled coffee on my crotch.
Pelvis. Everything. My hip.
There's a heater right there as well. So like the landing was literally
Oh, you can like.
from like where that table is to here, and I just went whoop, like, so you have to jump like forwards, but not so far that you hit the wall. So you have to just like take that almost like a dead drop from top to bottom.
Fuck that.
And now thinking back to it, you're like, you have no concept of I could break any of this stuff, and
Yeah. The
How-
older you get, the more you're like, I need my arm.
which
for
is why I
this.
like how you've got to almost control how much your kids hurt themselves, because it's like, yes, fall over, get a cut or graze. Don't maybe put wet fingers in the plug socket.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fucking given. Like, come on, like, I'm talking about, like, for them skateboarding or whatever. Like, some parents are just like, no, I don't want my kids doing that because they might hurt themselves. It's like they're supposed to fucking hurt themselves. That's how they learn not to do it.
That's why I think
Or-
martial arts would be really good from the get go,
yeah,
because I feel like it teaches hard work
and like kids, like they're meant to like be
and getting hurt.
like fucking eating dirt and shit. Like they're meant to just be kids and like, oh no, if you start fucking anti-backing everything, then their immune system's fucked.
I think I've had this conversation with Mike before.
Yeah. They're meant to fucking
'cause I think he
get
used to-
ill. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Build that shit up from the beginning and then they won't get ill later on.
Do you reckon all the COVID stuff is going to change how parents approach it? Parents of the future?
Probably. Everything's fucking anti-backed. I'm fucking doing that shit. I do it to the point like, you anti-back fucking
I think
things
they-
after like chicken. Yeah, you don't want that salmonella. That's very different. But when it's just like
Of raw
microbial...
chicken.
Huh?
Raw chicken.
Yeah, raw
Yeah.
chicken, yeah. When it's like microbial or just like bugs. What the fuck is that going to do?
Oh, what if you live in Australia?
I don't.
Yeah, no, as in like, would you do it if you lived in Australia? But spiders
know.
are big, man. I feel like I talk about spiders a lot on this podcast. and I
Yeah,
feel like
it always makes a sort of like a one. Not
I'm
180.
just spinning a web of spider-themed podcasts.
You're trying to turn this into like some fucking weird, like phobia based.
This is my therapy again. But yeah, parents who are listening to the podcast, you guys let us know what the hell is going on. How did you do it? What would be
Did it
interesting? Yeah, did it work? Well, again, you don't know. Maybe your kid hates you, like I said. But what would be interesting? Also, you guys can comment or like again slide into our DMs on Instagram
Yeah.
or Twitter. Twitter, so they're very English.
Instagram's a better one though.
Just because he doesn't know how to use
I
Twitter.
don't fucking like Twitter.
Oh, actually, very last thing I want to shout out
Oh yeah,
on Twitter. Someone did get in touch with us.
they did.
So don't want to obviously at them, but
It's a nice message.
it's a lovely message, and I guess one that a lot of the time, sometimes it feels like you're just yelling into the void. Sometimes when you're putting YouTube videos out and
especially in the early stages,
recording podcasts, exactly. Which I'd like to think we are. We're about a year in, average listenership of 10.
Shout outs to you.
But if you're one of those 10, thank you. Share it the fuck around.
Help us.
Yeah. So I got a message on the Twitter saying, so we had this random question last time of, have you ever saved someone's life? You said yes, and I was like, I don't think so, but maybe inadvertently. So I'm just going to call them goes, oh my God, I was listening to your podcast and you did kind of save my life. Like I wasn't going to die, but you definitely made it better. So thanks. LMFAO. I hope that's not a weird thing to say. It's not a weird thing to say. And thank you for actually sharing that because...
Yeah, and for reaching out.
Yeah, because a lot of people would be like, maybe they wouldn't be aware of that. So thank you.
Yeah.
What a lovely note to end on.
That's probably the most positive note we've ever ended on. And here comes a profanity.
I was thinking about it. No, we'll leave it at that. Thanks, guys, for tuning in this week.
Yeah.
Make sure to get involved. Comments, DMs, like, subscribe, notification bell, share it.
Leave a rating and a review as well
That's
if you're
a good
just
point.
listening to us. But if you are just listening to us, we have YouTube, so link in the description.
Very, very good point. I always forget about just the listener side of
Yeah.
things.
We're so focused on the video.
Yeah. See, if you were listening, you didn't see his hands do that.
Yeah, you see.
And now you're
Watch the
missing out.
videos.
Cheers, guys. We'll
Peace.
see you next week.